Welcome back to r/NPD. Today we'll be looking at two more cases from the subreddit, the Narcissistic Personality Support Group, and suggesting how they can utilise the traits of their disorder to better themselves or otherwise diminish the effects of narcissism. I'm Sophia from Trident Wellbeing, and I'm a mind and wellbeing coach, author, NLP practitioner and cognitive behavioural specialist. So let's jump in. User I'm Subhuman001 posts, anyone else ego get hurt when you see certain people, like seeing or reminded of someone who don't particularly like you, someone who sort of looks down on you, have a constant need to be well liked and respected by everyone. My day was fine until something reminded me of this guy who didn't think good of me. Then I started getting this awful feeling on the inside. Someone commented, yeah, there are people who are so much better than you in every aspect. Just thinking about them being alive somewhere feels like an humiliation. I'm starting to care less about that, and it's just a visceral reaction of frustration that I've had for so long. It's hard to get my body to forget that's the way it should react. I usually fight it by doing my shit, something I can feel proud of, even if it's something small. At least I'm doing my part. Well, we've talked before about considering an internal narrative, the story that each person tells themselves in order to substantiate the view of their self. Often this is based on a handful of specific traits. For example, it's common that from an early age, said children will pigeonhole themselves into basic archetypes, the funny one, the smart one, etc., etc. This psychological criteria is derived from a desperation to be seen. It's a natural byproduct of Darwinist competition in which the end goal is to achieve external affection and validation. Interestingly enough, the more children per household, the greater the segregation of specific traits, down to liking specific foods and activities arbitrarily, in an effort to carve out a niche and have the parents dedicate specific time towards the child, thus validating the view of self. What you feel here is confirmed by the comment and an overwhelming sense of discrepancy between your own worldview and your internal narrative. Most people see themselves as someone special, and narcissists are no exception. The difference here is that the more limited ability of the narcissist to lie to themselves. Narcissists exert power over others. Treat them the way they do in order to affirm their own narratives. It's not enough simply to tell yourself you're better, but to base it on something. Unlike so many special snowflakes of the modern era, feigning any number of false and disgusting delusions so that they can feel that they are the victim and thusly the protagonist. Narcissist personality disorder isn't a diagnosis of delusion. These feelings of hurt, as you characterise them, come from a discrepancy without a doubt. But unlike the aforementioned self-aggrandising proliferators of idiotic victimhood who can only get, in their own words, triggered as their narrative can't be proven due to non-existing, your hurt can be helped. We said earlier that the pain is often supplemented by an exertion of control in some other area. Not solving the problem, but making it easier to ignore. While you can do your own shit, as the commentator put it, it won't solve the problem by pushing it into the background. You want it to go away. You don't want to feel as if others are better. You want the feeling of superiority to be true. Question it. How true is it? Are they an authority on said subject or aspect of you, or are they simply projecting, as narcissists do so effectively? What proof is there that these thoughts are correct, and if they are, how then can you change them? After these questions, notice how you feel now. Learn, and if an area of success doesn't interest you, then stop basing your view of yourself around it. But if you find a criteria that matters, be it familiar relationships or net worth or income, and you aren't trying to surpass others to make it true, then you have only yourself to blame. There is no error in fault, but only in not trying to be better. But make sure it is something that you want, not what you think you should be. Our second post comes from B-Music, who writes, I don't want to lie, but I feel like it's better to spare everyone the truth. I feel like I never used to lie without remorse. Now that I look back, I embellish the truth more often than I realised. But now that I'm out of college and unemployed, because of my stupid decisions and lack of responsibility led to complete nervous breakdown, and I could barely get out of bed for 2 months. Whenever someone asks what I'm up to, I basically lie and tell them some shitty job I have. It's not like I'm telling them that I have a fantastic 6-figure job, but I'm just lying so they don't get to look at me like the waste of space and society that I am. If you aren't doing anything, actively making money, being proactive without advancing yourself, then people probably think you should just die. I've started feeling no remorse for my lives. It's almost habitual because I just don't care anymore. It's almost like I'm a shell of a human who's trying to maintain some kind of facade for the outside world to view me through. I can't even feel sorry for myself at this point because I've treated people like trash with how self-absorbed I've been. I just want to turn back time every day and redo all the situations that got me into this horrible place. Now, we often say that full-blown narcissists find it difficult to lie to themselves, that their exertion of power, however minimal, is a way to perceive themselves as a better person, try to believe that they are. The OP of this post then doesn't fit their criteria, as very obviously from the title, we bear witness to a lie. You aren't sparing others, you're sparing yourself. In your writing, you state that others think that if you're not being proactive about advancing yourself, then people probably think you should die. No, most people don't know how to express true empathy, so don't go and seek it. Lying to them has some sort of gain for you, but is it worth it? You don't seem to feel good about it. These lies give you satisfaction because you can then fool them into thinking that you're more than they think you are. The human mind acts on a positive internal feedback, and by framing yourself as somewhat successful in their minds, you better see yourself as worthwhile in your own. Now, that is an old coping strategy. Time to find a better one. You tell these lies to save yourself, and the biggest lie of all, that it saves others, is the best evidence that you have against being a full-blown narcissist. And how does it save others? From what? From being disappointed in you? From pitying you? My guess would be that by positing here, you seek to gather vindication of your actions from like-minded others, but that won't amount to real care. Sure, you've made some mistakes. Who hasn't? If these people judge you, then maybe they aren't your right tribe right now. Self-pity is no longer useful as assessed from your statements. Better questions will be, what next and how? Time to admit that whatever paradigm you imagine for yourself is false and now meaningless.